Hey, read through the word. Today is March 12th, and today's lesson is called Looking Back to Move Forward. And we are beginning the book of Deuteronomy. So here we are. Yes, you can do it. We got this. Deuteronomy. Okay, so Deuteronomy, we're going to talk a little bit about Deuteronomy, and then I'm going to see exactly where we are here, and we're going to do a handy dandy map. I mean, seriously, handy map. Some of you have seen me use this before. A friend of mine, it's her favorite when I do it. And we are Deuteronomy chapter 1, verses 1 through 8. And it says this. These are the words that Moses spoke to all the people of Israel while they were in the wilderness east of the Jordan River. They were camped in the Jordan Valley near Suph, between Paran on one side and Tophel, Laban, Hazeroth, and Di-zahab on the other. Normally, it takes only 11 days to travel from Mount Sinai to Kadesh-barnea by going by way of Mount Seir. But 40 years after the Israelites left Egypt, on the first day of the 11th month, Moses addressed the people of Israel, telling them everything that the Lord had commanded him to say. This took place after he had defeated King Sihon of the, there they are, the Amorites. The Amorites who ruled in Heshbon, and at Edrei had defeated King Og of Bashan, who ruled at Ashtaroth. While the Israelites were in the land of Moab, east of the Jordan River, Moses carefully explained the Lord's instructions as follows. When we were at Mount Sinai, the Lord our God said to us, "You have stayed at this mountain long enough. It's time to break camp and move on. Go to the hill country of the Amorites and go to all the neighboring regions, the Jordan Valley, the hill country, the western foothills, the Negev, and the coastal plain. Go to the land of the Canaanites and to Lebanon and all the way up the great Euphrates River. Look, I'm giving all this land to you. Go and occupy it, for it is the land that the Lord swore to give your ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and to all their descendants." So here is what's going on. So here's a little map. Here's a little map, and I asked Linda to flip the video so we could get this right. So hopefully I am. If not flipped, just imagine it flipped. Or I think if you're watching this on your phone, I think you can actually flip the video itself. So here we go. And here we are. Let me show you where we are, when we are, what's going on. So these events occur at the end of the Israelites' 40 years of wandering in the wilderness. The book of Deuteronomy opens on the first day of the 11th month in the 40th year following the Israelites' departure from Egypt. So we're thinking the Israelites were in the wilderness from around 1490 to 1450 BC. And so this is when we are. Now, we are, Deuteronomy 1:5 that we just read tells us that Moses spoke the words recorded in Deuteronomy while in Moab, probably on the plains of Moab near Pisgah. Now, map. So, right here, I always think of this as Egypt going that way. This is the Red Sea. This is the Mediterranean. Down here is the Dead Sea. Always think that the major, excuse me, major water, red, med, dead. Dead Sea, Jordan River, Sea of Galilee. So Mediterranean is on this side, which will be the west. To the east is the Jordan River, Dead Sea, Sea of Galilee. So over here is more land. That so what you'll see is we have come from down here. Excuse me, Egypt, Sinai Peninsula is down here. So as they've gone up, they've gone through. So if here's the Dead Sea, down here to the bottom is Edom. This is Moab. This is the Amorites. This is Gilead. And this is Bashan. So we've talked about where we are. We're in the plains of Moab. So we're right down here to the east of the Moab, of the Dead Sea. So we're right down here. They're going to have to go up through the land of the Amorites and cross the Jordan River at Jericho to enter the land. So that's where we are. So while they're camped out here, like in the back door into the promised land, there they are, camped out here, down here. Woo. And this is where Moses is going to talk to them. Okay? All right. Now, this is what Moses is going to talk to them about. As we go through Deuteronomy, I will explain this a little bit more. But the book of Deuteronomy is a series of speeches, I say sermons, given by Moses, made to the Israelites. Remember, everyone who had heard the law given the first time 40 years ago have dropped dead in the desert. And we shall talk about that next week. Okay, so they died in the wilderness. And so God wanted Moses to remind the new generation of his commands. I always say the key word to the whole book of Deuteronomy is remember. Because they, in order to move forward, they need to look back. They need to remember. And so Moses began the speeches in Moab after he's defeated Sihon, the king of the Amorites. So Amorites are right here. And the king of Bashan, who was up here to the north. And so now, from this point on, in today's readings, what you see is the journey from Mount Sinai to Canaan. So Moses gives them, he's like, look back. The way to move forward, because we're going to have to go up here and we're going to have to cross the Jordan River and take this land. This land has been given to us by God, but we have to drive out the Canaanites. We have to go in and take it. In order for you to keep focused moving forward, you have to look back. You need to look back at the faithfulness of God. You need to see what he's brought us through because you weren't here to see it. Let me remind you of what all he's done over the past 40 years for us, for his people. So he recounts the history of the past 40 years. And then he talks about how God gave us the laws on Mount Sinai. And then he told me to lead Israel to the borders of Canaan and to conquer the land. And how he appointed leaders to go in and observe. And the 12 spies, only 2 of them were faithful. So it is the 10 of the 12 spies returned with faithless hearts, telling the people, hey, we can't do this. We can't do this. You know, God said he'd given it to them. He's telling them that again. He's like, you need to look back at what they did wrong. Don't do it. Don't do it. You need to believe me. You need to believe my word. You just need to believe me. You need to trust. You need to obey. You need to move forward. And how are they going to move forward? They got to look back. They got to look back at the faithfulness of God. They've got to look back at the mistakes of their ancestors. They've got to look back at the things they actually did right. You have to look back. It's that thing of, I'm a nerd of all kinds. I love history. I love science. I'm even there on some of the math, but you get more letters than numbers, and I'm out. But my nerdiness, it just is. I'm fascinated by lots of things. And one of the things we know about history is those who do not study history are doomed to repeat it. They need to look at their history. They need to look at who they are. Like, without rose-colored glasses. They got to be brutally honest about who they are. And so, they're supposed to go and take this land. And this new generation of Israelites, they need to be honest about the failings of their parents. Like, that they did it wrong. And the grandparents, inspiring them, hey, Look back. Don't do what they did. Don't do what they did. And to move forward, you have to be honest about your past and about who we are. And there is so much application here for us today as the Big C Church, the Church Universal, all believers united, and what I call the Little C Church, the local church. The local church is where my heart is. I mean, I love the Big C Church, but my mission field actually is the local church, because not everybody in the doors of a Little C Church, your local church, actually do know Jesus. As far as they have an idea and they come in. So discipleship, that is my calling. My calling is to make disciples. I do that through my Sunday morning class. I do that through my Wednesday night class that I'm teaching right now. I'm not always teaching a Wednesday night class. My education pastor, he and his wife actually just had a baby, and he was sitting out this semester, and he asked me to take on a class so we would have another option on Wednesday nights. So I'm doing that. I haven't done it since before COVID. But that's discipleship. My calling with my students at school, I see as discipleship. Remind them to look back. Look at the faithfulness of God. Look at the faithfulness of God in your family. Look at the faithfulness of God in your life. Look at the faithfulness of God in scriptures. He is faithful. He is who he says he is. And he will do what he says he will do. All his promises he keeps. We have to look back to look forward. It's the same for us today that it is for these people here. And honestly, about ourselves, we can't, we need to be honest about our past failings and the failings of our family and our families to keep it from going forward. We have to be honest about that. We can't excuse sin. We need to call sin, sin. That's the first step of repentance. Call sin, sin. Don't make excuses. And don't, shall I go on sinning that grace may abound? May it never be. It's Romans. We need to be looking at our history with a critical eye. Looking back in order to move forward. We have to correct some things. We can't keep going on and act like that didn't matter. There is generations ahead of us that need us to make the corrections now, so we don't take that sin into the next generation. So that's what we're learning here in Deuteronomy. We'll see you next time on Read Through the Word.